Everything you knew was a lie. The cheerful demeanor, the quick wit, the fierce bidding. It was all a masterful performance hiding a devastating personal collapse. What you're about to uncover is the brutal, unspoken reality behind the cameras. The calamitous, tragic Yendi, and the profound, dark secret that didn't just alter Brandi Passani's life, but utterly ruined her public persona and private existence. For years, she was the undisputed fan favorite of Storage Wars, the fiery, independent spirit who navigated the cutthroat world of storage unit auctions with charm and tenacity, seemingly living a life of televised triumph and growing financial success. Yet, beneath the veneer of reality TV fame, an insidious personal crisis was silently festering, a harrowing entanglement of emotional devastation, legal battles, and profound personal betrayal that eventually dismantled her world, forcing her out of the spotlight and into a fight for her own identity. We are not simply recounting tabloid rumors. We are peeling back the layers to expose the insidious forces and excruciating events that orchestrate her downfall, revealing exactly how a series of deeply personal, soul-crushing events, kept fiercely private from the relentless glare of the tabloids, forced Brandi to confront an unimaginable personal hell, sacrificing her public image, battling for her children's well-being, and fundamentally altering her entire perception of trust and vulnerability. We will delve deep into the shocking details of the clandestine pressures and the ultimate personal cost that left her emotionally shattered, compelling her to retreat from the public eye and to redefine her very definition of happiness and security. This is a definitive, unvarnished chronicle of the true cost of sudden, brutal fame and chilling proof that for even the most resilient reality TV stars, the greatest threat does not come from competition on the auction block, but from the silent, unseen battles fought within one's own life. Before we shine the harsh light on this dark, hidden personal scandal, I insist you absolutely smash that like button on this video right now, because your engagement is a critical signal that tells the YouTube algorithm this raw, honest investigation is vital, and that the audience demands the unfiltered truth behind their beloved reality TV personalities. If you are able to support this channel further, please use the Super Thanks feature located directly below and help us fund our next major expose. But if you can't, simply comment below and tell us what you found most surprising about Brandi's seemingly perfect public image. You absolutely must watch every single second of this video, because a final revelation concerning the true impact of this dark secret on Brandi's life will leave you completely and utterly heartbroken. The captivating saga of Brandi Passani, a name etched into the collective memory of millions as the spirited and savvy auction buyer from Storage Wars, is far more intricate and sorrowful than the curated persona presented on screen. Born in 1980 in the sun-drenched landscape of Orange County, California, Brandi's early life, while largely unpublicized, was typical of many young Californians seeking their path. She carried an inherent charisma, a natural spark, that would unexpectedly propel her into the unpredictable and often cutthroat realm of reality television. Her introduction to the world of storage unit auctions wasn't through a lifelong passion for treasure hunting, but rather through a personal connection that would profoundly shape her destiny: her long-term relationship with Jared Schultz. Together, they were presented as a quintessential underdog couple, the young, ambitious pair with limited capital but boundless spirit, taking on seasoned veterans in a high-stakes gamble. This dynamic, a blend of romantic tension and professional rivalry, became the cornerstone of their appeal on Storage Wars. The show, which premiered in 2010, catapulted Brandi and Jared into instant, albeit niche, celebrity. Viewers were captivated by Brandi's no-nonsense attitude, her quick wit, and her ability to stand her ground against Jared's often impulsive and sometimes reckless bidding strategies. She was a grounding force, the relatable voice of reason amidst the chaos of competitive bidding. This on-screen chemistry, a carefully crafted blend of genuine affection and playful bickering, resonated deeply with audiences, transforming them from unknown hopefuls into household names. Their joint venture, now and then secondhand store, became more than just a business. It was an extension of their on-screen narrative, a symbol of their entrepreneurial spirit and their shared dream. This meteoric rise to fame, however, came with a hidden cost: the relentless demands of constant filming, the pressure to maintain an engaging on-screen narrative, and the blurring lines between their public relationship and their private reality began to erode the very foundations of their life together. The financial incentives of the show, while substantial, introduce a new layer of complexity, intertwining their personal happiness with the demands of a television network. Brandi, in particular, found herself increasingly defined by her reality TV persona, a public image of unflappable resilience that stood in stark contrast to the emotional vulnerabilities she would soon confront away from the cameras. The show's narrative of endless opportunity and successful finds cleverly disguised the psychological toll extracted, creating an expectation of perpetual triumph that would tragically clash with the very personal, very devastating crisis awaiting her in the shadows. The illusion of a perpetually united front, a cornerstone of Brandi and Jared's on-screen appeal, began to crumble long before the public was made aware. Their relationship, which had been the anchor of their Storage Wars persona, was reportedly experiencing severe internal strain behind the scenes for years. While the show occasionally hinted at their disagreements, these were always framed as minor, endearing spats rather than symptomatic cracks in a decaying foundation. The constant pressure of maintaining a high-energy, marketable dynamic for television undoubtedly exacerbated existing tensions, turning private disagreements into potential on-screen storylines, stripping away the sanctity of their personal space. The ultimate, devastating confirmation of their irreparable split emerged around 2020. Brandi publicly confirmed that she and Jared had separated 2 years prior, living entirely separate lives off camera while contractually obligated to continue their on-screen charade for the show. This revelation unveiled the immense psychological burden Brandi had been carrying, maintaining an elaborate performance for the sake of the series and their shared business interests. The emotional toll of this prolonged separation, particularly while co-parenting their 2 children, Peyton and Cameron, was immense. Brandi became the primary caregiver, balancing the demanding schedule of motherhood with the increasingly uncomfortable reality of interacting with her ex-partner both privately and professionally. This period marked a profound shift in Brandi's life, transitioning from a dual-income, dual-parent household to effectively navigating single motherhood amidst the lingering presence of a former partner. The ending of their romantic relationship was not just a personal heartbreak. It was a fundamental shattering of the carefully constructed public identity they had both inhabited. Brandi, in particular, was forced to redefine herself outside of the Brandi and Jared duo, a challenging and often painful process that required immense personal fortitude. This phase of her life became a quiet battle for self-preservation, a struggle to protect her children from the fallout, and a desperate search for a new sense of normalcy amidst the emotional debris. The controversy surrounding their separation was further intensified by subsequent public incidents, casting a darker shadow over the already fragile narrative of their breakup. The true breaking point, the moment of undeniable personal rupture that shattered Brandi's world and fundamentally altered her trajectory, occurred in the ominous year of 2020, amidst the already heightened anxieties of a global pandemic. The context of this implosion was not financial, but profoundly personal and deeply harrowing, a widely publicized domestic incident involving Jared Schultz. This event, initially reported by various media outlets and later confirmed through legal channels, painted a grim picture far removed from the jovial squabbles seen on television. Reports indicated that Jared was alleged to have assaulted Brandi, leading to police involvement and the subsequent filing of a criminal charge for misdemeanor domestic violence. This wasn't merely a private argument. It was a public declaration of the severe breakdown of their relationship, exposing the raw, ugly underbelly of what had long been presented as a quirky, enduring love story. The legal ramifications were swift and severe. Jared was arrested and faced charges, forcing Brandi into the excruciating position of navigating a deeply personal trauma through the impersonal and often brutal machinery of the justice system. The impact on her was immediate and profound. Not only was she grappling with the emotional aftermath of alleged violence, but she was also subjected to an intense public spectacle, with headlines screaming details of her private pain. This incident served as a stark and painful verification of the true, destructive nature of their separation, revealing a level of animosity and discord that far exceeded simple irreconcilable differences. Brandi, who had always maintained a degree of privacy around her personal struggles, was now thrust into the very public role of an alleged victim, her vulnerability laid bare for mass consumption. The incident effectively severed any remaining threads of their intertwined professional lives, making continued collaboration on storage wars utterly untenable and emotionally impossible. It also raised serious questions about the nature of their past interactions, casting a retroactive shadow on the seemingly lighthearted conflicts previously portrayed on the show. This legal battle, although primarily impacting Jared with his arrests and charges, profoundly affected Brandi's mental and emotional well-being, forcing her to confront the absolute limits of her resilience and to navigate an entirely new, terrifying landscape of personal safety and public scrutiny. During this intense period of personal upheaval, roughly spanning late 2020 through 2021, Brandi's rare public statements were characterized by a poignant blend of raw vulnerability and unwavering determination to protect her children. She intentionally retreated from the aggressive pursuit of public visibility, choosing instead to sparingly use her social media platforms to offer glimpses into her new, more private reality. One of her most telling and emotionally charged declarations was her almost desperate emphasis on self-care, healing, and prioritizing her mental health, a stark contrast to her previous on-screen persona that often downplayed personal struggles. She frequently shared messages about finding strength in solitude and focusing on the well-being of her children, subtly conveying the immense personal battles she was fighting behind the scenes. Brandi meticulously avoided directly addressing the specifics of the ongoing legal situation with Jared, choosing instead to communicate through carefully worded posts about resilience and moving forward. The emotional and psychological toll of this unprecedented personal crisis was tragically and quickly compounded by the persistent media intrusion and the cruel, speculative nature of online commentary. Despite her best efforts to maintain privacy, the public's insatiable curiosity meant that her pain became a subject of endless discussion and conjecture. During this nadir, Brandi seemed to actively cultivate a new, more authentic public image, one that was less about the queen of storage and more about a woman navigating profound personal adversity. She transformed her social media presence into a platform for sharing her journey of healing, discussing topics like therapy, exercise, and the challenges of single parenting, thereby creating a new, albeit quieter, connection with her audience based on shared human experience rather than manufactured drama. She spent considerable time focusing on her home life, a space that became both her sanctuary and the foundation for her renewed sense of purpose. This period marked a deliberate, conscious effort to rebuild her life away from the toxic glare of constant media attention and the demands of a relationship that had become unsustainably volatile. The most profound realization that accompanied her personal crisis was not a loss of material wealth, but the bitter, hard-won understanding that true happiness lay not in televised success or manufactured persona, but in the genuine, often difficult, work of self-preservation and emotional healing. Her shift in priorities was palpable. She made a defining and poignant declaration that captured the desperation of her position. She articulated a deep commitment to choosing peace over everything else, a powerful statement from someone who had long thrived in the high-stress, confrontational environment of storage auctions. This marked a conscious decision to disengage from toxic elements, both personal and professional. Her subsequent public appearances became noticeably less frequent, more selective, and critically, centered around her individual ventures rather than joint projects with Jared. The immediate strategic shift involved a radical reevaluation of her professional life, including a reported diminished role on storage wars or a complete cessation of her active participation in the main auction process, preferring instead to focus on independent business ventures and her growing online presence, which she controlled entirely. Because her individual charisma and genuine connection with fans remained strong, Brandi was able to systematically restructure her personal brand, focusing on authenticity and resilience, and slowly, painstakingly, pulling herself out of the deep emotional and psychological red zone. The paramount, emotionally charged focus of her efforts, however, remained the desperate protection of her children's privacy and well-being, shielding them from the harsh realities of her public struggles and the lingering emotional fallout, thereby ensuring they could grow up with a sense of stability and normalcy away from the chaotic spotlight that had once defined her life. Today, the truth about Brandi Passani's current status is painted in the deliberate, measured rhythm of her professional and personal life. She continues to work, albeit with a profoundly different approach, an undeniable, clear-cut piece of evidence that the foundational personal pressures and the need to redefine her identity have not vanished entirely. While she has successfully navigated the most tumultuous period of her personal crisis and has reportedly found a new sense of peace and stability, the simple, more subdued pace of her public presence speaks volumes about a continuous, high demand for self-preservation and a conscious decision to prioritize her well-being over fame. The most crucial, subtle, and perhaps most poignant revelation about her state today comes from her own social media narratives. She actively champions authenticity, vulnerability, and the ongoing journey of healing, valuing simple, quiet moments with her family and children over the manufactured drama of reality television. Yet, the stark, contradictory fact remains that the shadows of her past continue to inform her choices, and while she has found her footing, the indelible impact of her personal tragic end remains the single, unyielding reason why the once fiery queen of storage now guards her private life with fierce determination, choosing a life defined by personal growth, emotional strength, and the unwavering protection of her inner circle, until perhaps, finally, the past can truly rest. And so, we arrive at the final, heartbreaking truth of this investigation. The story of Brandi Passani is not just about a charming reality TV personality, but a profound cautionary tale of tragic END and a dark secret, a series of soul-crushing personal events that forced the once unflappable Storage Wars star to confront unimaginable pain and sacrifice her public image for the sake of her peace and her family. She once commanded the auction floor, but ultimately, she navigated a brutal war within her own life. Her current, more private and deliberate life today is the silent, living proof that the cost of that dark secret was not merely professional. It was a permanent, devastating tax on her trust, her vulnerability, and her public legacy. If this deep dive into the shocking personal treachery and the immense sacrifices of Brandi Passani left you stunned and heartbroken, then please hit the like button right now. Your like is the single most important action that tells the algorithm this vital story matters, pushing the raw truth past the sensationalist headlines. And you absolutely must subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. Don't let the entertainment machine keep hiding the full truth about our beloved public figures again. Your subscription is a key to our continued investigative independence. If you feel inspired to support us even further, please use the Super Thanks feature located directly below this video and help us fund our next major expose. Now, it's your turn to be the judge of this tragedy. Head down immediately to the comments section and tell me, do you believe Brandi Passani's tragic end was an inevitable consequence of the pressures of reality TV, or was she ultimately a victim of personal circumstances and betrayals that were entirely beyond her control? I am eager to read your definitive verdict, but do not navigate away just yet. If you thought the dark secret behind Brandi's collapse was impactful, wait until you see the next video. Click on the screen right now for a story about a reality TV star's hidden downfall that is even more mind-blowing, far more scandalous, and contains a much more devastating, heartbreaking final twist than the private ruin of Brandi Passani. Click here. You absolutely won't believe your eyes.